Hello, welcome to my YouTube channel, Loc'D. I'm trying to like close this so you don't see anything. But anyway, welcome. I went to a friend's wedding today and her reception is in about 35 minutes. I'm choosing to be late so I can come on here and talk to you guys about 10, not 1, not 2, not 3. I guess that's 5, but 10 things that can make you a better reader. I have some orange juice in this cup. You might see me sipping or looking to the left. It's because I wrote stuff down. Well, actually, I don't need to look to the left. I'll just pull up it on my phone, but I'll have it like pulled up to the left. So the reason why I was like, hey, I'm gonna sit down and film this video is because I have makeup on. I look good. We don't waste good makeup. Amen? Yes. So let's start with the first thing. I want this to be a guide of things that work for me. I think there are some terms or some identities that I want to share with you guys that may make this a little bit more relatable. One, I am diagnosed with dyslexia. My dyslexia really shows up when it has to do with numbers, letters as well, but numbers is really rough. I also have ADHD and I also have anxiety, and a lot of times just sitting still and having to focus on things can be really hard. If you know anything about ADHD, you know that there is an attention focus and then there's a hyperactivity focus. I am combined, meaning that I have ADHD that targets focus deficits or difficulties, and then also hyperactivity difficulty. Although I will say there's some other things that doesn't make my hyperactivity as noticeable, right? But I just wanted to say those things to say that not only is this a 10 list that will make you a better reader, this is 10 things that I have done that have literally helped me make accommodations for myself and to make sure that I can be able to read and consume all of these different stories and worlds just so I can function on a similar level as a person who is not neurospicy. So now that we've got all that out the way, the first thing I want to talk about is very, very important. Before I started this channel, I was a consumer. I was just like you who are watching this video right now and don't have a channel. I was like, this sounds cool. Let me see what it's about. I was very intrigued with the book community and wanted so bad to be a part of it. And what I found is that at first, when I first started reading, and not first started reading, but first started to read and also be a content creator as well, I thought I had to read what the popular kids were reading. I thought that if I was not reading all the famous, all the big stuff that's coming out, that means that whatever I was doing didn't matter as much. And I'm moving the camera. All right, I found another piece of tape to really get things, you know, fixed and settled. But like I said, in number 1, I was so much focused on what other people was reading, how they were reading, the speed in which they were reading, that I just felt like I was just going through the motions of reading and kind of losing that initial passion that brought me to reading when I was younger. So as I was continuing to be more involved in different book communities, whether that's on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, whatever, I realized that I was not reading what I like. You should read what you like. If you want to be a better reader, you read what you like. I say all this to say also, expand what you're reading. Like, you can always dip a toe or two into different things, but also ask yourself like, is this something that I like? And a lot of times you have to consume quite a bit of something to understand if you like it. But then there are like some hard no's for people. There are people in the book community who will not read any book that deals with pregnancy, anything that deals with the death of a child. There are some hard no's. Of course there are. But I want you to know that it's very important to know what you like in books so that you can seek that out. And typically what you like in books can be something that's applicable across genres. Now, in that same vein, we're going to number 2. It's really, really important to what you don't like, because then you'll end up just reading and reading and reading and reading stuff that you don't like. So for me, let's talk about the spooky genres, right? We have thrillers, we have mysteries, we have suspense, we have horror. For a while, I thought I was a thriller girl. I thought a thriller hated to see me come. But now upon reflection, I realized that it's really mystery and also horror that I like the most. And even though there are some moments where I have enjoyed cozy mysteries, I don't want to go there often because I don't like it. I like to read books where the stakes are high and adrenaline is pumping and we don't really know what's going on. Reading a cozy mystery is kind of like a warm hug, and I don't like that feeling in books. And it's main reason of why I don't like to read a lot of romance, because of the I love you, you love me, we love we. I can't deal with that like fluffy cutesy stuff, so I don't like to read about it. Another thing that would make you a better reader is, this is something that I've recently started doing. Read a book just for vibe. Just for the vibe, not for anything other than the vibe. Just randomly choose a book and just read for the vibes. You don't need to read to do a lengthy dissection of the prose. You don't need to read to figure out how this is connected to something that's happening in society. Sometimes we just want to read because the vibes is good. The vibes is giving what needed to be gave. So to me, you just want to read for the vibes, and sometimes you surprise yourself. One of the books that I read for the vibes was Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. Since reading that book, I realized, because it was my first book to read about dragons, and that's what really pulled me to it. And then I started learning about her as a person, and then learning about other things, and I was like, well, maybe that book wasn't as great as I thought it was. But I did go in for the vibes, and just on vibes alone, that book gave. It did. Another book that I read recently that I was just like, this looks like this might be for the vibes only, and it ended up being a more serious conversation on femicide throughout different Caribbean countries, but it's called Passion Tide. But I love the fact that I just was like, okay, I'm gonna read this book, and I loved that book. So sometimes when you just read something just purely on vibes, you accidentally just come into something that is really nice and really entertaining. The fourth thing that would make you a better reader is to really figure out what formats really stick to your heart. And when I say format, I'm talking audiobook, I'm talking physically reading, I'm talking ebooks, I'm talking any type of format that you feel like is more accessible to you. Those of you who have dyslexia, you got dyslexia, babe. You got it. You got it. You have it. It's okay if you want an audiobook. That is called accessibility. That's why they exist. That's why they exist. So if you have dyslexia or you have ADHD and you have a hard time staying still, a hard time staying focused, figure out the format that works best for you and stick to it. For a long time, when I first started as a content creator, I was like, oh my God, I have to physically read all of these books, but I couldn't sit still. And then, you know, when you have dyslexia, some words ain't the word that you thought it was. Some letters get mixed up, numbers get mixed up. And I felt like a fraud. I truly felt like a fraud. I was like, people, you know, are going to come after me because I'm trying to read mainly on audiobook. I mean, people still say ableist things like audiobooks aren't reading. And those people can go the deepest pit of hell. Other than that, really knowing your format is really important, because ever since I told myself, like, Bree, you have dyslexia, you have ADHD, it's okay. It's okay, babes. Audiobook every time. And I freed myself from that. I think a few years ago, I almost exclusively audiobook. The only time I don't audiobook is if I'm reading a comic or if I'm reading a manga. The pictures really help break things up, so I'm able to read it and get through it. But it does take some time because I need to sit there, right, and focus and read and finish the whole comic or manga. But for the most part, I exclusively read audiobook. Although this month there is a book about dragons, they don't have an audiobook version, so I have been reading it physically. and that has been a little bit of a challenge, but I'm gonna try my best to get through it. But that is something I'm choosing to do. I think when it comes to your time and your life and your body, you get to choose what format. You get to choose what format of how you consume literature. So if ebooks your thing, stick to it, okay? If you have to physically feel the pages of the book and turn it, I understand that feeling. You know, if you feel like you gotta be eye on page, and if you feel like you need to listen to it, you need someone to tell you the story for you to observe it, that is okay. I just want everyone to know that whatever format you choose to consume your literature, it does not mean that you are not reading, and it does not mean that you are more superior than another format. Chill out, y'all. Chill out. The next thing I want to talk about is a try phase, and I know that I'm going to talk about like kind of elements of that moving forward, especially when we talk about number 8 on this list. But try things, please. Random things, odd things, things that don't even make sense. Read some nonfiction, because when you do that, it changes your life. One of the books that I was just like, I'm just gonna try this out and figure it out, I'm curious. It was called something about wilderness billionaires or something like that. I'll put the thing up for you to see it. And while I was reading it, I was like, and this is a nonfiction, I was like, billionaires are really problematic in ways that I think I didn't even recognize. So to me, trying that book really opened my eyes to how billionaires are getting tax cuts, how they are continuing their wealth exploitation, just so many things. That book just like shed light on me. I want to read some other books about billionaires, because I don't think just reading one book is going to give me everything that I need to know. But that was a beautiful experience just to try that. Another thing is that made me a better reader is learning to be done with books. Do not finish it. DNF it fast. I learned that from Heather on Happily Ever After Booktubes. When you start the book and you feel like it's not doing what it needs to do, it's taking forever, if you feel like you just can't focus on the material, you can always, that leads me to my next tip, PFN, which is pause for now, which is something that I created years ago. You can just take a pause and be like, okay, I'm gonna wait till I'm in a better headspace, I'm gonna wait to whatever, and then try to restart the book again. But you know, everyone knows deep down when they are not jiving with the book. I think a lot of times we're like, oh, but this is everyone's favorite, it's got this rep, that rep, this rep. I read books that had all the representations in the book, and the book was still trash. So it's okay if you want to DNF that book. But if you're reading the book and you're like, the subject material is hard, or I really want to know what's going on, but my cat died, my parent died, I got to transition to another position at work. Just things that happen that really put you in a funk and you just can't put that mental capacity into a book. PFN. Pause that book for now. The 8th one is just very self-explanatory, similar to what I've said earlier when I was talking about things you like in books. Read diversely. Read from all over. Read from whomever. You're going to find yourself really finding new things that you like in books. For me, I found that indigenous and Japanese horror is really some of my faves. Like, of course, black horror, but if I didn't expand how I'm reading, let me tell you, so good, so good. Even though I don't like romance, there are some books that have some asexual representation that is top tier, and I can definitely relate to it. So for me, reading diversely doesn't always mean race. It means sexual orientation. It can mean ethnicity. It can mean ability. Just read diversely. You will find so many cool things when you read diversely. Another thing that I do, and a lot of my subscribers have told me that they have done this too, because I have ADHD, like I said earlier, and I also have dyslexia, I can't always sit and listen to a book. So I Candy Crush. Download the app yesterday. I Candy Crush so much when I audiobook. I'm gonna tell you, on my iPad, I know I'm on like level 1000 and something. But on my phone, because they're not connected and I don't know why, but on my phone, that's the annoying thing about Candy Crush, is that it's like 100 things you got to get through before you get to the actual Candy Crush. But I'll show you the level. I'm trying to show you, but I don't know if you can see it because it's not letting me zoom in. But I'm on level 774. I'll screenshot it so you can see it. I will Candy Crush hard and listen to a book. You understand me? I also love listening to an audiobook while I'm driving, while I'm cooking, while I'm doing tasks, having on in the background while I am working. Depending on the book, though, I can't do every book when I am working, but there are certain books that I can still listen and comprehend while I am working. The final thing, the final thing is find communities and creators who share and don't share the same taste as you. Not so far off that they are being harmful in the community, right? We don't call upon that energy. Don't call upon that energy. When you're watching and consuming book content creation from other creators, you figure out, oh my God, maybe I should read that. I've gotten so many book recommendations from people online in the Booktube space. My biggest person I get book recommendations from is Ashley. Her formal channel was Realm of Comics, and then she has Realm of Kidlit Comics, and I get so many good recommendations from her. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have not been like, I actually really love middle grade. Like, I didn't know how much I love middle grade until 2 years ago, and now I read a lot of it. When it comes to a middle grade, I'm gonna be right there. Middle grade hate to see me coming. Am I the target audience? No. Do I care? No. And that's a bonus one for you. Read what the hell you want to read, okay? Read what you want to read. I don't want you hearing stuff that isn't relatable because you white or you whatever color, okay? Because we out here reading books that got dragons and elves and all kind of creatures, okay? Fae. Now, when you say it's not relatable, you kind of sound dumb. In that sense. And I don't want to say dumb. I don't like saying dumb lightly. But some things, it's not helping your case. It's not helping your case. It's really not. Think about the things that you like in books. Seek them out. Think about the things that you don't like in books. Cast them out. Okay, sorry y'all. My camera died and I had to get a new battery. And shout out to Past Me for having a battery already up and ready to go. So continuing, know what kind of format you're reading. Really stick to that. Don't let societal ableist thoughts of what is and is not reading interfere with your experiences and your involvement in exploring new worlds, new ideas. And then you want to, always remember your try phase. DNF the book today and not tomorrow. PFN. Pause for now, okay? Sometimes we're not in the right headspace and we gotta just chill on it for a bit. You know what I mean? Some people say soft DNF as well, but to me, I feel like a DNF is a DNF and we need to have another category for actually pausing on the book. Our next thing is reading diversely. I talk at length about why that's important. Also, audiobook and Candy Crush is a beautiful combination. I know you're probably like, did Bree really put that on? I did. Audiobook and Candy Crush is a beautiful combination. The next thing is, or just any game. I've also used my DS, not my DS. I keep calling it my DS and it's not my DS. My Nintendo Switch. I have like cozy games that I play on that and I can audiobook. That is really good as well. And then finding community and book content creators that you know that will share similar interests to you, and those who don't, but they don't in a way that you're like, I can still use them to enact your try phase. Just saying. Just try stuff out. Figure it out. I think what makes you a better reader is your dedication to reading and your dedication to reading stuff that just feels who you are as a person. So those are my 10 things to make you a better reader. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. What I would love for you to do if you got this far in the video is to add to this list. Tell me something you have done that's made you a better reader. And maybe I can do a reaction video to that at another time. But anyway, have a wonderful night and I'll see you later. Bye.